Hey everyone. I'm about to start a yoga class. So I'm doing some calf smashing. Whenever you join in. Hey Nicole. Um, so yeah, just getting set up here. We'll start in a couple minutes. Um, welcome. Hey Wanda, welcome. So I'm doing some calf smashing. This is where you roll up your blanket and put it behind your knees if you have one. Might be good to do. We're gonna get into hips and legs today. Hey there. Hey everyone. Paige. So if you have a block, if you have a strap, you can get creative with those if you're at home. We'll use those today and a blanket, maybe a thick towel, um, hey there, or just a blanket. You can roll it pretty tightly. Of course, a yoga blanket if you have it. Hey there. Um, okay. So yeah, I wanted to start a couple minutes early, just kind of get going live. So if you guys just want to say hello or have any questions or just want to check in, um, great. Hello. Again, those of you joining, grab some props, a block, a blanket. There. Hey, Jerry, so good to see you. Um, yay. So just talking about props, if you have a block, blanket, strap, of course you can use any home item that would supplement or take the place of those things. That'd be great. Hey. All right, we'll give it a couple more minutes for people to join. Um, okay. Hey, Julie. Hi. Hey, Jill. Hmm. Chuck. Hey, friend. Melanie. Hi. So as you coming in, hey, Elizabeth. Um, grab some props if you have them. Oh, fun. Let me know how they like it. Great. So blocks, strap, blanket, if you have those things, or get creative. You can also try to do without. Hi, Sasha. Yay. It's good that you do yoga with your mom and your sister. So good. Hmm. So great to be here with you all. So I'm doing calf smashing. Some of you who take my classes know what that is, right? So we roll up your blanket, nice and tight, make a nice firm roll. Hey there. And then that goes behind your knees. So that you get a little massage and your hamstrings, calves. We are going to try to open up hips, legs, and feet today as part of our work. So that could get some headway going there. Ooh, that's a tight spot. When I teach my weekly classes, I do calf smashing many times a week. I'm realizing I'm not doing nearly as much these days. Such is the situation. Okay. Well, hey Martha. Hey everyone. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started towards what we're gonna focus on today. So tomorrow at I think it's 5:28 a.m. It's a new moon in Aries. Yeah, if you follow astrology, but either way, of course we have a new moon every month, and this new moon feels particularly. I should say I'm feeling particularly grateful that we have a new moon tomorrow. So what this is about is cycles, and as the moon is made new, we start again. And there's some deeper things with it being the first this new moon in springtime, But essentially we get a restart, a reset, which in that things have been so intense, right? The idea of a starting new feels really welcoming, really promising. I don't know about you, and I'll only speak for myself here, but I feel like I've been through this process of, this kind of day by day unfolding with this, of course, social isolation, just the stress of that the pandemic is happening, and the markets, all the things, and just one day at a time, things are getting more unfolded, more intense. And then it's like I'm arriving at a place of just like, okay, this is the new normal. It's kind of reality is sinking in that this might be this way for a little while, and things may never be the same again, even as we hopefully get on the other side at least of the social isolation and so on. And so with that said, I feel like as we come into this part of this new cycle starting tomorrow, it's a chance to just kind of refresh and start again, from where we are, what's happening now, and just show up as it is, right? So where we are today, then, this is the day before the new moon, and so it's called the dark moon, and that means we're not there yet. The new beginning is coming, but this day is inviting us to really pull in. You may be feeling some extra heaviness, low energy, some funk, right? Some just intensity around all of that, and it's just a way of actually bringing it to a close, and how we can move the cycle that's come before. The way we can move through that, we can use our yoga practice, of course, to move through a process that allows us to be present to what is, to acknowledge what we need to acknowledge. Like, I know we've all had more time to ourselves, but I'm sure we've still been trying to, make ourselves feel better, right? And that we need that, right? To make ourselves laugh, to connect with each other how we can, watch shows, all the things. But how much time have we really allowed ourselves to feel, this is scary, this is disappointing, this hurts, this sucks, right? It's there. So may we take time in our practice to just give ourselves a space to feel that. And our yoga practice can be a way that we can give expression to that, not in a maybe traditional way we think of expressing our emotions, but to just, as we move energy through our practice, to, hey everyone, so great to see so many of you joining, thank you. As we move through our practice, to just give expression to whatever we're feeling. You may be feeling, again, heavy, tired, sad. Like, I'm super low energy today, just keeping it real. Like, super heavy, super just, and to just even pour that into your practice. You don't have to be any other way than you are right now. And our practice, because it moves energy, it can help us to move through, to process what needs to be processed. This is what I really want to invite us into today, to process, to clear. And then with that, as we go through the night and into the new moon early tomorrow morning, it's like we'll come out on the other side fresh and just ready for a new day and a new beginning in this cycle of where we are right now. So again, our practice can help us to first just be present and acknowledge, give space to feel something, to even to give it expression as needed, and to move through. So, and with our lower energy, perhaps you're just feeling more quiet. We're going to do not a super challenging practice today. So I want to get grounding energy flowing, some good clearing twists, get our exhales really moving in a way that we just, again, clear out and release. This is the day to clear out and release, to air it out, and then move on into the next cycle tomorrow, right? So, all right, so that's what we'll do today. We'll just let our, hey there, let our practice facilitate that for us, right? Just the movement of energy, the movement of the body takes us through this process. So I hope you can hear me okay. It's awesome. It's raining in here in the sunroom, so maybe you can hear some of the rain coming down too. So I hope you can still hear me when I get over to my mat and start to practice. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to go over to the mat and we'll take a good seat. Okay. So you can sit up on your blanket or blocks, sitting up with some height under your hips. Totally go backwards. It's a good way to center your spine to free up your hips and your back already. Sitting on a blanket or some blocks there. And just take a good seat. You can soften your gaze or close your eyes. And begin to really connect to your breath, the flow of your breath. Connecting to yourself through the breath, through the feeling of your hips and your legs as they release and make contact with the ground, getting heavier there. And just feeling your breath, and especially your exhales. It's present to what is. And invite your exhale to start to get a little more full. If you're already feeling heavy, right, maybe you are feeling lower energy, just maybe this is weighing on you so much, it's such an intense time we're living in. Maybe your breath is already heavy. With that said, I invite you still to really push it out all the way. Push it out through your belly, really toning a little bit more. But then also be sure to receive the inhale very fully. That flows in from there. And the exhale, of course, is how we release. The exhale is how we move out what we're done with physically, but also mentally, energetically. So let the exhales even have sound. If you're probably alone or with just one or two other people in your space now, so feel free to let it out. With a big sigh and anything else that needs to come out through you. Just let it out. Our practice help us to release this intense month, this intense moon cycle we've been through. It's so intense. We get to restart tomorrow in the morning, and so making ourselves ready for that. So bring your hands to touch at the heart. Present to yourself, acknowledging what is. We'll move through our practice, giving expression to what's needed. Just moving through a process that helps us to just stay in the flow. I'll chant an Om. Feel free to join in. Inhale fully. Bow your head and lower your hands. Lift your head, open your eyes. Wow, the rain's really coming down. Can you hear it? Can you still hear me? Okay, so come standing up and clear up your mat. Start with just your feet at the front of the mat, hips width or so. Of course, I'm going to face you here, and then I'll move. We're moving front and back. So stay with your feet hips width or so. And just start with a little bend of your knees and press your hands onto your thighs. You can press your hips back, your thighs back. Bring a little tone into your center. And just make your legs strong. I actually want to bring some movements, some big breaths with this in a moment. So first, just establish your feet and your legs. Get really grounded and stable there. Exhaling as you press into your feet a little bit more and even tone your center. And then take your arms about out, shoulder height, about out by your sides here. And just notice where you are in the length of your spine and the tip of your hips. So then with an inhale, sweep out and stretch overhead. But with your exhale, again, bend your knees and push the breath out. You can cross the arms to the front. And inhale. Big in breath as you use to reach up. Exhale, push it out and swing your arms. Inhale, start to move with that a little bit more. Exhale, a few more times. Inhale. And again, inhale. A few more times. One more time here. And yeah, you can bring them bigger. Movement to it. And then back up with the inhale. Lower the arms with your exhale, standing steady. Separate your feet down a little wider, and I'll start to make a little twist. You can pivot on your feet a little bit, turning your legs, your hips, and then just letting that momentum kind of move through your trunk. You start slow with that as you twist side to side. I'm just going to check. Oh, thank you, Christina. Just checking you can hear me great because the rain is loud there. Thank you. So twisting side to side and picking up some momentum with that. You put your arms, something that can hit your bookshelf or your couch or whatever you're next to. You can let swing a little bit, kind of wrap around your torso. Just let that open you up a little bit more. Go as big with that as you want to. Breathe still. A couple more times, just loosen it up. Whew. Man. All right, so slow that down and bring your feet back to hips width or so. And again, a big inhale, stretch overhead. This time, go ahead and fold from your hips all the way down. Steady through your feet, bending at your knees, your hips. Folding forward. We'll stay here for a few breaths. So bend your knees as much as you need to so that you're folding from your hips and not at your low back, right? So your spine can hang down from your hips. Tone your belly in and up. And you hang your head down. Keep your legs steady, but you can still kind of move your torso and just kind of open it up and work it out here. You might try pressing your finger pads down like magnets, and then with that, your shoulder blades slide more up the back instead of just dropping everything towards your ears, and your neck from the weight of your head will release more there, so that's nice. A couple more breaths here. You can, of course, keep moving it or start to slow it down and just kind of channeling into the breath, the pose, pressing more into your feet, stretching more deeply through. Right, so with an inhale, then we can arch up a little ways here. And we'll lower down into a seat. Either step back to hands and knees, or if it's working for you to lower down through a seat, you come on down in that way. Come all the way then down onto your back. And if you have a block, have it with you close by, okay? Let's see what my message is here. Hey, Misha, hey. All right, so come on down and come onto your back here. So you can take your block and place it between your thighs, give it a good squeeze. I do want to do some core work, because with core work, we can actually use that exhale to really push out the breath and really tighten our center and get some good activation to help us to move more energy through our body. So squeeze the block, press into your feet, and push against the fronts of your thighs. And with your hands, like we did standing, and with your exhale, then tone your belly in, pull your ribs in. From the strength of your abdomen, your back more towards the floor. Your exhales will help you to do this. So push the breath out again. Pull the abdomen in tight. Try to minimize really rocking the pelvis way up. Make this more about just really using that strong center. And the exhales helping you to engage a little tighter to activate a little more deeply. So keep that happening. Pick your feet up off the floor. Bring your hands to the fronts of the thighs forward and push forward and up. And same thing. Spread your toes a little bit. Still toning through the belly, pulling your abdomen in. Pushing the breath out. Again, that exhale is what helps you to tighten that deepest layer of the core. I know it's hard work here. We're sort of holding and engaging. In just a moment here, we're going to let it go and let it release. Okay, so here we go. Exhale it out. And then here I can remove the block. And just rest. Bring soles of feet together, knees apart. And just soften them down for a breath or two. Just feel how much, again, the exhale is moving through you. And receiving the inhale then in from there, a little more deeply. All right, so adding in there, take the legs up. And again, this time no block. Bring your hands to the fronts of the thighs, push forward and up. And again, tie through your abdomen, belly in, navel in, ribs in. And then pick your feet up off the floor, sliding your hands up the legs. And this time, exhale upwards, lifting chest and head, and hold on to the backs of your thighs if you can. If this is too much for you, just stay on your back and do the first version, hands on thighs. Here, lengthen the back of your neck, even as you flex upwards, keeping your throat back. So pull in tight through the center. You're going to do another option. You can stay here, or bring your hands, your fingertips behind your head, and you can start to cross the left shoulder towards right knee, and just go super slow with that. Come back to center as you inhale the exhale, crossing over. Once again, you have a chance to really push out that exhale. You need more stability. You can have toes on the floor and just lift one leg as you come across. Do this a couple more times. Really tighten, make sure you're really curling up at the top. Cross it over. One more time, right shoulder towards the left knee. And come on down. This time, stretch it all the way out. Reach those legs out long. Get your arms overhead. Big full breath in, big full breath out. Opening up in this way. Okay, so again, bend your knees. This time, one more piece. We're going to work into some hip opening stretches. And to do that well, we want our glutes to be activated and toned. Maybe you've been sitting a lot these days, like doing stuff at your desk, on your couch. Right, so we want to tighten and firm these muscles that support us here. So press into your feet, squeeze the block, press the arms into the floor. Here we're not flattening the spine, but the low back's a little bit off the floor, it's natural curve, but still tone that front body just as much. So start to drive into your feet and just start to lift your pelvis slowly up. Think about just toning those glutes, hamstrings as you lift up just a little bit. Doesn't do a big lift, coming back down. What we're not doing, we want arm out of the way so you can see better, we're not curling up, we're not tucking the tail and flattening the back to come up, but just more like lifting straight up and down like a lever, right? Just kind of the shoulders of a lever. So firming the glutes, lowering back down, just moving at the hips really. So you just might start to feel a little burn there. Exhale, push up, and lower back down. A couple more times. So we have this strength of inner thighs, glutes, ready to work with us. So push up, and this time hold for a couple extra breaths. Doesn't be super high. Make this mostly by your legs working here, right? So you can walk shoulders maybe a little bit closer. Reach your knees over your toes. Breathing in, breathe out, just elongate your pose, how you move the energy through. All right, so lower those hips back down. All right, remove the block. Now you can take your legs up, give yourself a little hug, knees wider. You can rock it out a little bit side to side. You can take those knees a little wider up towards your shoulders, get a little inner thigh stretch as well as still a little bit more into those hips. Breathing here. And then either carefully roll to one side or you can rock and roll up and back to a downward facing dog. So either swing your legs around or go over your ankles if that works for you and step it back to a downward facing dog. Check that your hands are straight ahead, pressing down well, your finger pads and knuckles. Bend your knees, hips up high. Toning your belly, pulling your ribs in and reaching the hips up. So with that, you can start to pedal down through one heel and the other, pedaling it out, opening it up, and more stretch out into those feet and legs. Press your big toe down, spread your pinky toes apart so you're toning calves, hamstrings, even as you're pedaling and stretching it out here, opening it up. Couple more breaths. All right, so from here, tiptoe slowly forward to the front of the mat. We're going to do a couple lunges, so if you want to have a block handy, move it up with you, arch up with your inhale, and step your left foot back into a lunge, so your right foot's forward in your lunge. We are going to twist. If you just have one block, you can put it under your left hand if you want to use a block, right? Right hand can go on your knee. Before we twist it, just pause here. Drag the feet towards each other, pressing the back thigh higher, and bend deeper into the front knee. Keeping that sense of working your core to support you. And that hand on the knee, start to turn your belly and chest to the right. Narrow through your waist from that right hip in. And with the exhale, bend into the front knee more. You can just stretch that top arm up to open up a little bit more. Take one more breath here. And touch it down, downward facing dog. Step it back. Take a full breath here. Look forward, heels high, hips high, tiptoe on your way. Arch up with your inhale. Right foot steps back into your lunge. Again, use a block or not. The left hand can come under your knee. Take a couple breaths here, just setting up your pose. So that front knee over the ankle, make sure to scoot that foot up a little further, make sure that's a vertical line. And then as you breathe, drag the feet towards each other. Pull, strength up the legs, those muscles firming. And again, use that strong core. The exhale, bend into the front knee more as you start to twist. Moving energy through your pose, even that top arm up. Breathing in, breathing out. From this left glute in as you stretch. One more breath. Good. Touch it down from there. Downward facing dog. Step it back. And then bend your knees and walk your hands backwards. Walk to your feet. Rooting your legs, folding forward from here. And inhale, arch up to halfway. Bend your knees, hands on thighs, and stand with an inhale. Push through your feet, reach up and stretch up. Exhale, lower your arms. Just stay at the back of your mat, but grab a block. Let's do some notes here. Hey there, you guys. So if you have a block, you can put it between your shins on the widest side. If you have a block, just go a little wider with your feet and make your legs firm like you're squeezing a block, right? So spread your toes, try to press your big toes down, spread your pinky toes apart. Give that block a good squeeze, and then start to again sit back into your hips, hands on the tops of your thighs as you push back. And so some of this is alignment-based work, we say, and we're sort of dialing in the body to facilitate a deeper clearing, more than just moving and stretching, right? And breathing, that's a big, big, big part of it. So squeeze the block and push the thighs back, and then you can even try to add in here. Try crossing your wrists so you go to the opposite thigh and turn the inner thighs down and back more. So I'm squeezing in with the shins strongly to the middle, but I'm sort of ratcheting the thighs apart the other way, back and apart, and still toning the core then in and up, especially with that exhale and pushing down to the feet more. So there's I feel a lot in the hips here, in the back. Notice here I'm still making a low back curve. I'm not rounding like this, right? So moving the hips back. So push into the feet. Lengthen the spine, and then keep this happening as you slowly, slowly stretch your legs straighter. Keep pushing into the feet. You can push your forearms against your thighs. Stretch it out a little more. And then bend your knees again. Let's come up the way we came. So chest up, head up, hands on thighs. You can grab that block. So we're going to remove it and stand up from there. All right, set the block to the side. This next pose takes a little balance, so grab a wall or a couch as you need to. So balancing on your left foot. Start here, actually, sit back in your hips a little bit, then balance on your left foot. And same thing, lift your right leg up, cross the ankle over your knee, meaning same thing, do the same action. Work your feet like you're still squeezing that block, and now move the inner thighs back and apart. Maybe just hands on tops of thighs once again. Maybe have a hand on the wall to help you to balance, tone your core. You could go free arms out to the sides or hands at heart center. For those of you feeling adventurous, you can try crossing your wrists and again turning those inner thighs down, back, and apart. Then lift your core, tighten the glutes for support, and push again down and through your legs to clear more energy. All right, come back up with your inhale. Very good. Try that second side. So start with a little bend to both knees. You set up this alignment work. Lift your left leg up and cross that ankle over the knee. All right, so you can just sit back a little. Obviously, every pose goes as far as it goes for you. Maybe you're holding onto the wall. Be strong in your feet. Think about squeezing that block and reaching those inner thighs back, whether you're using your hands or not, right? You can have hands on thighs, you can have hands at heart center, have your arms out in a T. Or if you have your balance, you can cross the wrist, the other wrist on top, right? And then turn those inner thighs down more, sit bones back and apart more. Exhaling as you bend that standing leg a little deeper, stretch your spine a little longer. Come up slowly with that inhale. Very good. Stand at the back of your mat. Big exhale out. With an inhale, stretch arms up and overhead. Exhale, fold from your hips all the way down. Very good. Inhale, arch up to halfway. And walk it forward, downward facing dog. Breathe in here and breathe out. Deep exhales. You can bend your knees. Try to use your legs more in your down dog. Use your legs to stretch your hips up higher. Lengthen your spine more, even as you then stretch back and down through your heels. All right, so with your next inhale, lift your right leg carefully up behind you, keeping your hips level. Exhale, step that foot between your hands. That would be a harder step. You can always pick up your foot and move it up. Then here, the front foot's going to stay straight ahead, and now your back foot, walk your hands to the inside of the leg, and then spin your back foot out so it's parallel to the short edge of the mat. You either line up front foot to the inner edge of the foot, or more heel to heel, or even a little wider would be fine. Start with your arms vertical, under the shoulders. And remember what we're just doing in our legs. So be strong in your feet, and with an inhale, drag your feet towards each other and move the thighs back and apart, as if you could cross your wrists and push them again back and apart. But then exhale and lift your abdomen. Firm that right hip in, and that same exhale, start to bend deeper into the front knee. And you have the option to walk your hands further out in front of you. Go down dog lunge. Press into that back foot. That back leg holds really strong. Press that foot down well. And then exhale, bending into the front. You try to open your knee to the right from the hip. All right, and walk your hands around the front. Lift your back heel up. Lower your back knee down. And lift up hands onto your hips. So here you might need to cushion that back knee. Put your blanket there. Just put the sticky mat under the knee. Settle and breathe. Just feel already how much you're moving energy through, present to yourself, moving through this process. All right, so here, same thing, drag the feet towards each other, especially from that right hip in for support. With an inhale, reach those arms overhead, and adding in here, right hand holds left wrist, stretch up a little more and go sideways to the right. And you actually probably feel a little more stretch to the front of that left hip when you do that. So make sure you're dragging that left knee forward and toning it to the middle. You bend a little deeper to the front knee if that feels all right to you. So then stay with it. Come back up to center with the inhale. And bring your hands to touch, hands to heart center. Scissor in with your legs. Start to turn at your waist, turning your abdominals. And we'll bring that left elbow to the outside of the right knee. You'll put your right hand on your thigh if you need to get a little deeper into that stretch first, into the twist rather, and then opening it up from there. You can also lift your back knee up. If that elbow doesn't want to get to the outside of the knee, just put your block down again. You can do this twist again. Right? Otherwise, elbow on the outside. Press right hand to left, push that right knee strongly out to the right to tone that hip. And then exhale through, bend into your front knee. Stretch your spine longer, turn a little more open. Right, inhale, untwist, touch down. Downward facing dog, step it back, take a breath. And left leg up with the inhale, slow and steady. Exhale, step that foot up between your hands. And spin your back foot parallel to the short edge of the mat. Either line up heel to arch, heel to heel, or you go a little wider. And both hands just right into the shoulders. Of course, you can use a block there as well. Anytime you use a block, right? Start with the vertical arms. Be strong from feet to hips. We're going to push thighs back and apart. Squeeze in with your legs wide into the sit bones. Thighs back and apart. And then lift your core at the exhale. Firm that left hip in to open the knee to the left. And sink into that thigh with the exhale. Releasing through that downward current. You walk your hands forward more if you like. Typically rounding your back a little more as you do that. And with your next breath, walk around the front leg, square your front foot with your hands and turn that right hip forward. Lower your back knee and lift up hands on hips. And we're pushing that back knee if you need to. Settle and breathe. I can just feel already what's moving through you. And with an inhale, stretch your arms up and overhead. This time, left hand holds right wrist. Stretch up a little higher. Keep toning that left hip in for support. And side bend over to the left. Meanwhile, that back leg is like it's squeezing a block, right? Dragging a little bit forward, turning that hip a little more forward. That lines you up through the hip flexors. When they open up, it opens up a whole, again, downward clearing, release, like this beautiful rain falling down now. So back up with the inhale. Lower your hands to heart center. Keep scissoring with the legs. Rotate out your waist. Notice this left hip likes to pull back when you do that. Push forward still through that knee. Maybe hook that elbow if you can, or you can go back to the block twist, right? You can go back, you can lift the leg or not on the back, so there's lots of options. So hooking that elbow, if you can, maybe that back leg is up. Scissor with the legs, push the knee to the left as you exhale, twist a little more as you exhale, and again, bend into that knee. Keep the ribs in strong on the left. Breathing, stretching through. All right, untwist with your inhale, downward facing dog, step it back. And so here, we'll tiptoe to the front of the mat, nice and slow. Press into your feet, hands on hips, head up, chest up, rise up with your inhale, or just bend those knees for extra support. Okay. So then take your blanket, if you have a blanket. If you don't have a blanket, you can also just roll up your mat temporarily, make a roll out of your mat that you'll just unroll when we're done and on to the next thing. So make a roll of some kind. We're going to stretch out our calves a little bit more. So roll up your blanket nice and firm or your mat nice and firm. And then towards the front of your mat with that. Then take your block, again, if you have it in front of you, you're just going to stand up on the roll, put your hands up on the block, so the ball of your foot is on the roll, and then we are going to lower our heels down, like you would in a down dog. But the idea is not to be just passive here. You're not going to just sink and be heavy, right? But rather keep pushing through the ball of the foot, like you're trying to lift the heels up, to tone up the leg, even as you then are lowering the heels slowly down. So you'll feel that as a lot of stretch in the calves, right? It's not passive. So two stages here, 3 stages really. First stage is just stay upright. Don't worry about folding forward so much. Bend your knees a little bit more and you'll get a deeper stretch and underneath those outer calf muscles, called your soleus muscle. You only get that stretch when your knee is bent. But then try to straighten your knees all the way, and that'll hit the gastrocnemius, that thicker muscle in the back. Now, some of you are more, some of you feeling plenty of so much stretch here actually. If you're still able to tip more forward from your hips and you want to come into the full forward here, you're welcome to. Get some of the hamstrings a little bit more. But if you're just rounding forward like this, I recommend to stay on the block. Take a few breaths here. It's intense. We're often quite tight in hamstrings and calves, feet. So breathe into it. Life's intense. Breathe into it. Acknowledge what is. And express it even as you need to. It will move through. Life will keep moving. So from there, bring your heels up onto the roll. And then lower your hips down. So the balls of the feet are now on the floor like you're wearing a set of yoga heels. And then hips down. If your knees don't tolerate this, you can just do the best you can with that. Maybe your hands are on the floor, maybe you're lowering down as much as you can. But then if you come all the way down, it's again a nice grounding release for the hips and the thighs. You can try bringing your arms onto the tops of the knees there and push down into the hips. But keep elongating your spine. You're not trying to just arch fully straight, but just stay long and even. Especially here, exhaling down through hips and legs and feet. All right, from there, come off your roll and just come onto the mat. You can unroll if you're using your mat. Just take a moment to unroll it. So join us again here at the front of the mat. All right, and then arch up with your inhale. I'll step back to downward facing dog. And this time with an inhale, again, lift your right leg up. We'll hold it this time. Bend your knee, push the foot up, and then roll the hip up and over. A little more stretch in the front of that right hip. I notice you tend to drop on the left side here, so with a strong left arm, lift your left armpit, and actually tone your belly up on the left side more. Almost like you're twisting your belly. Turn your face under your left armpit, your left side, not the right. Yeah, keep it level there. And roll that hip and knee up and over. All right, level the hip with the inhale. This time, bring that knee carefully forward with the exhale and come into pigeon pose. Go slow with that. And if some of you the knees don't tolerate pigeon, you can always come onto your back and do like a reclined version. You can also have your foot more pointed back. If it's possible to bring it out a little wider, so be careful, work that edge of the foot. And like we did in the standing pigeon, make it feel the same, strong in the legs. So if you're putting something under your right hip, that's also fine. Just that doesn't mean you're passive, or you're still working the strength of the legs into the hips. And turn that left hip forward, pull that right hip back, lift your belly up so you can start to exhale and ground down your hips and legs more. And walk your hands forward, maybe down to your elbows, shifting your hips back and down. So I invite you to really keep the lift in your core. Instead of making this passive where you just want to lay down and rest, though I know we want some of that today, we'll get some of that. Here, the more you lift your abdomen and exhale, you can push energy down with your legs. You're getting like more of an active, energetic clearing, along with the stretch of the hips. That is, clearing things out in a way that we're going with that invitation more. It also keeps the weight off your front leg, which makes it easier on the knee. So keep working the edge of the foot however you have it. One more exhale as you ground your hips back and down. All right, then come up carefully. And let's take a quad stretch. So move your right hand to the center of the mat. And that left leg in. Try to lift. You can lift your hips up to try to bring hip and heel together. Modification here is to just rock everything over to the right, and you can just work on stretching out that quad on the left side, kind of lining it up with the rest of your torso. If you're staying more upright, kicking the foot into the hand, once again, toning your core in and up, using those strong glutes to Push a little more forward as you stretch, lengthening your spine. And that left hip forward, pull that right hip back. All right, carefully release. Downward facing dog. Steady your hands, your core, left leg up with your inhale. You can bend the knee, push the foot up, roll your hip up and over. And you would tend to drop on the right arm and side of the torso there, so that your strong right arm and armpits. Tone the right waistline. Almost like you're twisting your belly and chest to the right and looking under your right shoulder. Push that left hip up and over. So then level the hip again with the inhale, rock forward, tone your abdomen, and come easy into pigeon pose. You can start with the knee wide and the foot pointing straight back. Maybe you stay there the whole time. Option to go wider if your knee permits it. Work the edge of the foot, and just trying to keep, again, strength up the legs. And here the hips are level and buoyant. You know, we're not trying to sit over to one side, which you need to, of course. But we're trying to keep that strong work from feet to hips centered the whole time, especially that strong edge of left foot. So draw strength up the legs with the inhale. Same thing, lift your core with that exhale. Push down through the legs where we can shift back a little bit more. Maybe you can do that. And then come on down, hands, maybe elbows. You can point your back foot back as long as you're keeping that leg active, not just flopping it to the side there. The idea, again, the exhale, moving energy out. Moving especially down and out is how our physiology naturally releases what's done, right? Down and out. So grounding through. Toning your belly in and up is part of that to move that energy through. One more breath here. And then with your inhale, slowly back up. And short your stance a little bit. Bring the left hand to the center. Bend that right leg in. And so try to close the knee. It's called closing the knee when you bring the shin bone and the thigh bone as close together as they come. So it's there instead of this version where you kind of hold the foot back like this. Option, once again, to just roll everything over to the side. So just stretch out the quad at that angle. If you can, staying up right here, toning your core, kick the foot back into the hand. As you lift your core and that, you have to work hard to do that here. But it would give a deeper stretch in the quads. You can push from the back of the hips a little more forward. And stretching out quads, hip flexors really helps us to ground and deeply release. Very carefully release from there. And use your strong arms, your strong core, back to downward facing dog. Stretching up and back. And then come forward through to a seat. And lower the knees down, swing your feet around or cross your ankles. We are going to come to our back, so have your strap handy, ready to go, and also your block. Right, so come on down. Take a little water. Have a sip of water. Just come down and rest on your back for a moment. All right. So from there, come onto your back. Give the block a squeeze between the thighs once again. Coming into bridge pose like we did before, but this time going for a little bit of a bigger opening. So press into your feet, the backs of the arms. You can walk shoulder blades a little closer. Give the block a squeeze and firm those glutes in the same way. So starting at neutral spine, not flattening. We're not going to tuck and roll up, but rather just lift your hips and strong legs. And with that, you can walk the shoulders a little closer together. Maybe if it feels good to you, clasp hands. You can also grab the sides of the mat as you walk shoulders closer, or clasping if you wish. So give the block a big squeeze, press into your feet, lift your chest, lift your chin a little bit away from your chest, and press the hips higher. And then here the exhale, think about reaching as you exhale from your skull up through your pelvis, knees, and feet. So stretch your spine long. As you stretch your knees over your toes, resisting it at your shoulders, and the head gently pressing into the ground. One more big, huge breath. And lower your hips down and keep this shape of this back bend, right? And then take the feet together, knees apart. So I invite you to see what that feels like. You don't have to, you're not trying to flatten our backs to the floor here like this. That's a tuck. That's when you tuck your pelvis under. So untuck. You might notice your knees drop down a little further. You can bend your elbows and experiment with actually letting your lower back arch off the floor. Using the shoulder blades of your chest a little higher. And just rest. Once you get into a position that feels supported, just rest for a couple breaths here. Breathing as we get a lot of like big exhales out, right? Remembering to allow the freshness, the fullness of the inhale to come in with that space that you've made. The shape is very more expansive, more welcoming to the fullness of the inhale. So one more breath here. Okay, so I'm going to take the legs back up, and if you're a little bit of a back bend, or settle down from there, come back to more of your neutral spine. And then grab your strap, or whatever you're using for a strap. Belts, robe straps work well. Walk your legs out to straight. And tone your legs close. Turn the inner thighs down, press the thighs down. And keep the legs grounded and heavy like that. And like we did at the beginning, tone your abdomen in. We're not flattening to the floor here, but we're trying, not flattening, because the legs are keeping us neutral, right? So try to keep your legs working like that as you bend your right leg up. And then take the strap across your foot and stretch it up in that way. So if you're tight in the legs, it might look more like this. You might try to straighten your knee all the way, right? Some of you can go a little higher and then think about pushing up to the ball of your foot. And that left leg, keep it strong and heavy. It's going to keep you more grounded, going with that grounding current. That left leg's going to want to relax and kind of pop up and roll to the side. So keep it really heavy and pressing. And as you tone your core from that right bend, so that knee and the foot will turn out a little more to the right. Now with that, go ahead and turn that knee and that foot out nice and wide. And then take the leg out to the side as far as it goes for you. Again, if you're tight in the leg and you're out here, instead of just lowering your leg down like this, which not much is happening there, you can try bending your knee up, and maybe have a nice bent knee out to the side this way, so your thigh bone angles upward, and then, if possible, stretching the leg straighter from there. Keep that left leg grounding, turn your abdomen to the left, tighten the glute on the right, so you're noticing that you're still working hard. We'll give a relaxed 10 moment here, but so this engaged work will give you a deeper clearing. Okay, take the legs slowly back up. We are going to twist. And you can modify this twist by bending the top knee, but if you can, keep the leg straight. You can scoot your hips a little more to the right, and then we'll roll the leg across towards a twist. So if that's too much on your back, just bend the knee. It's good, I think, to push the knee up into your hands so you have some activation there. Whatever version you're doing, keep the bottom leg active, moving the thigh back. It's a loud buckle. And then pull your ribs in on the right and twist. The twist is at your ribs. So try to hold your legs steady. Top of the left thigh back. Exhaling as you push from that right hip to the right foot or knee, whatever version you're doing. Turn your ribs as you lengthen your spine. Breathing in, breathing out. Bring it back up with your inhale. Recenter the hips. Lower that leg down. Take a breath, a full breath in and out. And all out. Rejoin your legs towards the middle, firmly pressing them to the ground, belly and ribs in. And bend your left leg up. Same thing, strap across the foot and stretch that leg up. So again, right leg stays heavy and grounded by making it firm. Hold the inner right thigh down. And still pull your abdomen back. Maybe so up here for you, you're getting that full stretch that way. Some of you can stretch it up and overhead more. It's not about how far you stretch, it's how connected you are to what's moving through you, right, as you're aligning and breathing. So turn, as you firm that left hip, turn that knee, the foot out to the side, and now take it out at a wide angle to the left. I'll show you. Oh yeah, I can see my leg there, great. Okay. So again, if you're tighter, maybe you're bending your knee. prioritize more like the thighs angling up instead of being like down and out this way. Right. That right leg grounding, turn your belly back to the right, firm that left hip in, and with that, unfold your stretch a little more as you're able to, breathing in the same way as you breathe out, think about pushing through the legs more. You can spread your toes here, try to press to the big toe mound more. And with your inhale, bring that leg slowly back up. And shift your hips to the left, taking it across to the right. An option to bend the knee. If that's too much pulling on your back, just bend the knee. You have the right hand on the outside of that left knee pushing upwards. So you stay toned and connected as you turn. And with your strap, you can push out against into the foot or into the strap with your foot. You can steady the legs, top of right thigh back from that left hip. Push out through that foot and turn your ribs, turn your waist. Try to press the horse to the back of that left shoulder as you open it up. One last exhale all the way through the close. Keep toning to the center as you untwist. Straighten out. And you straighten your hips on the mat and straighten both legs out for a moment, just having that both sides. We're not done yet. It's nice to rest for a moment and just feel the effect of that little simple but powerful sequence for clearing and releasing. And then do bend your knees up and take your legs up, one hand on top of each knee, and just press straight. Start with pressing straight into the backs of your hips, balancing, stabilizing, low back a little bit off the floor. So toning your abdomen back, elongate your spine, centering here. Then you can take your knees a little wider and hugging a little tighter if you wish, and just rock it out side to side. And then you roll to one side and help yourself up to a seat. Let's sit for a moment before we take our rest. So again, on your block, your folded blanket. Having opened up hips and legs so much, it's probably easier to sit with a balanced pelvis. So turn inner thighs down, sit bones back in the heart, and feeling that the weight of your pelvis and your thighs, your legs more. From, yes, muscles that are more relaxed, stretched out. Also how you open up that downward release valve, if you will. So there's this emptying out, this heaviness. Gaze can be soft, eyes can be closed. I want you just to continue to breathe. Like we practiced at the beginning, just more subtle. Exhaling fully. And as you receive the inhale, receive it all the way down as well. With the inhale, begin at your lower ribs, your side ribs, filling you up from that place. Smooth, long inhale. But again, a smooth, long exhale, maybe with open mouth. Like both slowing down the exhale, but also pushing it out to its even fullness. Do a couple more breaths like that. Inhaling deeply. And exhale long and slow. A couple more breaths like that. That exhale, just come back to a natural breath. We still have our Shavasana, our resting pose to do, but if we are ready to feel, or we're still in a more sort of feeling the energy of our practice more in an active way. First of all, the gift of just being present to yourself and giving yourself the space to acknowledge what you're feeling, what's happening, what's happened, right, in the current state of what is. To really feel that. In a space that's supported by your body and your breath. And to have whatever that is that needed to kind of come into some expression through your practice. Hopefully that happened. Hopefully you moved enough and were able to express through what you were doing, what it needed to come out and come through. So we went through a process. Practice shifts us, keeps us moving. Everything always is keeping moving, and we participate in that. So we can move through anything, yes, sometimes transform, transmute when the time is right. Just feel the gift of the strong work in your practice, the power of your breath, the way you move your body. So with that, let's come onto our backs for our resting pose, Shavasana. I will guide you out of it at the right moment, so I'm not just leaving you to your own devices. So just you onto your back to rest. So you're warm and comfortable. Socks back on. Stretch your legs out long and strong for a moment, just getting yourself positioned, and big breath to the sides of the torso. Do walk your shoulder blades underneath you. That can even support your low back if it's feeling uncomfortable. That'll actually align your lower spine as well. And then settling in there. Laying flat on your back is not possible to do comfortably. You can try a blanket behind your knees, not behind your thighs, behind your knees, so the tops of your thighs can still be heavy towards the ground. So propped up on a blanket. Just rest. I invite you to let go of any analysis or assessment of the situation now, just to simply, maybe one more deeper, fuller breath, just let go and just be. Releasing into the support of the ground beneath you, your bones. You've done the work to clear out, to empty out, to release what's done. You can simply be in that space. The new moon is the space between the cycles. We're still at the very end of the cycle. Having emptied out, we're soothed and flowing into that place where we are reset, renewed. Again, drawing in a fuller breath, especially let that exhale just flow through you all the way out. Soften a little bit more. And again, a deeper breath in. Begin to wiggle fingers and toes, small movements, or if I feel like you want to stretch a little longer, you can add that in. When you're ready, bend your knees, roll onto your side, soften on your side for a moment with your head resting on your arm. Use your hands to support yourself, make your way up into a seat. Consider your block, your blanket. Sit bones back and apart. Tall and easy. Just feel the ways that your practice help you to clear out and release. To be real with what is. There's always emphasis on staying positive and staying strong, but sometimes we have to really face and go through what's difficult and even painful to truly come forward in a real way. Just what is needed, what we can really respond with and through and in an authentic way. So the yogis don't shy away from the discomfort of certain emotions, but we also know how to work with them and to keep moving through. We're invited, especially at this time of the dark moon, today, tonight, and into that new moon tomorrow, to a much needed reset, a new beginning. Tomorrow will be the time for intention setting, but today is where we do this inner and outer housekeeping to make ourselves open. Please bring your hands to touch at the heart. Closing with an Om. Namaste. Thank you all. New moon blessings. Take good care. I hope you all are keeping well in these trying times. Know that I make these offerings just to share, to help in any way that I can. Last time I did this video, so many people share with me how much you benefited from it, how wonderful that is. That makes me so happy. And if you have the means and you're so moved to offer a small donation, I'm not teaching most of my classes right now. I'll post in the comments my Venmo and PayPal. Just if you're so inspired, it's gratefully received. But I just hope you enjoyed the practice. I hope it was helpful. So I'm seeing all of you on here. It's so great to have so many of you, and I will read all of your comments. So thank you again. Many blessings, and stay safe, stay real, stay whole. And, again soon. Thank you all.